Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there in Wrestling with Egos land. It is I, the intellectual savior of the wrestling masses, Brian, alongside, as ever, the Reverend of the Rant, Patrick. And we here at Wrestling with Egos want to remind you that we've been practicing social distancing long before it was cool, because we got that split screen effect. We want to welcome you back to another episode of Wrestling with Egos. Wow, it's almost like we're in that AHA video.
Take on me, take me on, I'll be...
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. Before we blur his eardrums out. Thank you as ever for joining us. And he's still going. But thank you as ever for joining us this week. You can check out the Google repository at bit.ly/withegos for some previous content. Shout out at us on Twitter at bkrigo15 for your boy, at rantmodon for Patrick. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube to get notifications about new content. And you can email the show, wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com, to join the conversation. Looking forward to unpacking another week. And it's been a couple of weeks since we've joined you for various reasons. But we're going to get through all of it. But before we do that, Patrick, how are you, good sir?
Various reasons being that last Friday I was watching NXT live at the Agora Theater in Cleveland. Great show. Got some video content, and I'll probably put that up as some bonus coverage. Doing good, man. Nurse Rant Mode On wants me to remind everybody, wash your freaking hands. Found out earlier this week, there's even a passage in the Bible. It's in the book of James. I think it's James 4:8 that says, wash your hands, you sinners. Come on, guys. But yeah, good week. Busy week at work. Real quick sidebar story. I work in a warehouse that distributes wine and beer and all sorts of fun adult beverages. We also distribute the expensive bottled water, like the Evian and the Essentia, the stuff that you buy at your grocery store for $1.50 a liter bottle. Dude, we can't keep that crap in stock right now. It is bonkers. If you're happy and you know it, wash your hands. But yeah, good week. Real quick regarding the NXT show from last week. Mrs. Rant Modon and I both found somebody new that we like. Just in-ring work. I became a fan of Austin Theory. Just smooth work. He main evented against Ciampa, and it was a really good match. Nice and smooth, and Theory controlled a good chunk of the match before Ciampa turned the tide, got the win. But the missus and I left the show thinking, wow, Austin Theory's pretty good. That kid's got a hell of a bright future. I thought it was hilarious that we were in Cleveland, Ohio, and we got ringside seats, and when you see the video, you'll see how close we were to the ring. It was baller. But across that way, I saw Johnny Gargano's dad and his stepmom, and a lot of the friends that you've seen of his on TV when he's interacted with his family at ringside. But no Johnny. Johnny doesn't have a match. Ciampa wins. Ciampa's sending everybody home with the thank you guys, and this is why the black and gold brand, blah, 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 blah. We are in. Lights go out. Lights come back on. There's Johnny. Ciampa turns around. Super kick. Johnny Gargano also wants to now be known as the real King of Cleveland. And we just happen to be sitting second row. There was a space in between the guardrail and the first row of chairs when Gargano was making his way around the ring, shaking hands and high fives and doing selfies. And Mrs. Rant Modon and I got a selfie with the real king of Cleveland himself, Johnny Gargano. Yeah, that was awesome. Oh yeah, it was a good show. It was a very good show. Then you realize sitting ringside is kind of a spooky thing when you're at the Agora, because they build everything up off of the orchestra pit and everything. So like there's the stage, and then we realized, my wife realized early on, and then me later, that we were about 10 feet off the floor built on this platform. And I was like, oh crap. And you had Keith Lee and Dio Madden as a tag team against Strong and Cole. I'm like, oh my God. Them two big dudes hit the corner nearest us, and you could just feel the whole platform just like,
it's crazy.
We is gonna die? Yeah. Anyway, good to be back. Thanks for letting me take the week off so I could get my NXT on. Bummed that you and the Lovebird could not join us, but next year, party of 5, because the Squishy Face wants to go too.
That's fine by me. We'll try to make it happen.
Well, yeah. So let's get in the show. Same way we always do each and every week. Cue the music. There you go. It is time for some good, some bad, and some ugly. The 3 things in the wrestling world since you last saw us that we loved, and this wasn't that great, and we absolutely hated. Brian, you're up.
Well, my good, with all of the time I had in my hands all of a sudden today, not having to go to school because of current events being what they are, pulled out the network and queued up the WWE 24 episode featuring Kofi Kingston. I rewatched it, and it was really, again, we've talked about it before, what a well done episode that was, and everything they interwove into that episode. His visit to Ghana, his visit with all of the people of that country, and the formation of the New Day, and just remembering how happy they were for him when he won the championship at WrestleMania last year around this time from Daniel Bryan. And just a great episode. Probably the best 24 they've ever done, in my opinion.
I would agree.
It's up.
Yeah, I would agree. It was actually one of the really good ones. For me, I'm going to go a little bit more, a lot smaller, and go to NXT this past Wednesday when Gargano and Ciampa pretty much destroyed the entire Performance Center in that massive brawl. Dude, crazy. That was epic. I'm glad to see them get this rivalry going again, because, I could watch this ad nauseum. But it's a little different and a little weird to see Ciampa as the face and Gargano as the heel, wanting to do things the Johnny Gargano way. I'm still a Gargano fan. You're still
warming up to that dynamic, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm with the promos as of late that he's done. I'm like, okay. I might have misspoke when I'm like, I'm not buying Johnny as a heel. I might be buying Johnny as a heel. Kind of like how I wasn't buying Finn Balor as a heel in NXT until that first promo where, I took my mask off and changed the business. I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's my good. How about my bad? You know what? I want to save my bad for later on in the show.
Okay.
I think it might come up. So okay. What's your bad?
My bad is the fact that I have to wait until the fall for more episodes of the Ruthless Aggression series on the network, because I'm really enjoying a glimpse into that time period. for a lot of reasons. I mean, the latest one that's out there is the one with the brand extension where it's Raw versus SmackDown. They're trying to create, competition from within. That was always my sticking point with that time period. It felt so artificial. But this episode of the series is a great job of really peeling back the onion and seeing, okay, it did give a lot of new stars the ability to make their mark. Guys like Edge and Rey Mysterio and Batista and Randy Orton, etc. So, I'm a little bummed that I have to wait that long for more episodes like that.
One quick point on that. Keep in mind, without the brand extension, Edge would not be a Hall of Famer.
True.
Not even close, because Edge would have never gotten the chance that he got because of the brand extension. So thank goodness, especially for this Edge head, that did happen. My ugly, anybody with a pulse across this world knows what I'm going with for my ugly. This freaking virus. COVID-19, I refuse to call it the coronavirus, because if you actually look up what it is, a coronavirus is a type of virus. It's like saying the SUV instead of the Chevy Equinox. Be specific here, boys and girls. As a sports fan, getting a little outside of wrestling, as a sports fan, this is screwing my crap up big time. No NCAA tournament, no women's tournament, no wrestling. They've already shut down baseball, the College World Series and the Women's College World Series for softball, which, by the way, them sons of guns don't get settled until June. Basketball shut down at least for 30 days. Hockey shut down at least for 30 days, maybe for the season. Baseball's opening day pushed back 2 to 3 weeks. We might lose the Olympics. We might lose Mania. This thing sucks. By the way, boys and girls, 1, wash your hands. 2, take precautions. For example, if you're not feeling good, stay the F home. I'm trying to go this show without cussing. Well, severely cussing, like F-bombs. Stay the F home. Don't be a dumbass. If you need to cough or sneeze, this little part, look, let me get in frame. This little part right here of your arm is called your elbow. And inside right here, you got the bend, the inside bend of your elbow. What you're supposed to do, boys and girls, is do your best hurricane impression. There you go. We're wrestling fans here. Do your best hurricane impression. Stand back. There's a sneeze coming through. There's a cough coming through. That's true. Right here. Right here. Flex that muscle. Sneeze in. Big Papa pump that crap. Bring it in, and instead of kissing the muscle, sneeze. How hard is that?
The more you know.
The more you know. Or since, we're wind hurricane and everything, and I started getting a little high pitchy. What's up with that? So that's my ugly.
My ugly is those boots that Charlotte Flair was wearing on NXT on Wednesday. Sometimes I wonder about her outfits.
Not just that. The whole dang outfit. Bro, don't get me wrong. The color green looks really good on Ashley Flair. It's a good color for her. But, dude, the zipper on the side of that dress was up just a little too high. And if somebody was looking, and I'm not just saying just the camera, I'm saying, 15-year-old Johnny sitting ringside, if he's looking at the appropriate angle at the appropriate time when Rhea knocks Charlotte on her butt,
yeah,
somebody's getting a free show.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes if she thinks about her attire that she wears out to the ring and whatnot. But be that as it may, as we said at the jump, a lot's.
One more thing on that one. that particular dress would have worked for anybody else on the women's roster. Here's the problem. Charlotte's 5'11".
Right. A lot has happened since we last joined you, and we're going to jump into it right now. We're going to start with that AEW action. They had their Revolution event over Leap Year weekend, and some surprising results came out of it.
Yeah. First off, I said I was calling something the last time we talked about this stuff, and that was going to be that Hangman was going to turn on Kenny, or Kenny was going to turn on the Bucks. Neither happened.
Neither happened.
Hangman gave one of the Bucks the finger. That was expected. That was a freaking good match. Holy crap, was that a good match. But we all kind of expected that to be. Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin. Called it. That was such a good fight. That wasn't a match. That was a fight. Jericho and Moxley. We saw them in WWE. We saw them in AEW. They gave us another great match. How Chris Jericho can still be pumping out these 4 or 5-star matches at his age is beyond me, but I don't care. Please continue, sir. I appreciate it very much.
And then Moxley turned around and had a great interview with JR this week on AEW television too. A great sit-down interview. The only Jim Ross can do it that way.
Oh yeah, Jim Ross is a great interviewer. I'm starting to lose faith in him in terms of being a play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
But as far as an interviewer, man, he's still a killer. But yeah, I mean, and we're getting closer to AEW Blood and Guts, which is their take on War Games. We're trying to call it the Match Beyond, but that apparently didn't fly. So they decided to take a shot at Vince because Vince called AEW Blood and Guts. So hence,
I did pick up on that when I was watching Revolution this week, is that's what they're gearing up for next. For me, the match of the night though was Darby and Sammy. I mean, those two, we've said it before, how they could, we have that fight forever chant. I think it was made for those two guys.
Them and Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic.
Yeah. Sammy Guevara is showing me, that he's willing to take his lumps now. He can take a pounding because I think he understands in his mind, hey, I'm kind of a new kid on the block here. I'm a relative unknown. I've got to, earn my spot that I'm being given here. And the way to do this is just go out and have some restaurant quality matches with people. And he's done that a lot already.
Full throttle the whole way. He doesn't take his foot off the gas the minute the bell rings. I love it. Also loving how they keep, real quick, something we're not touching on that happened last week on AEW and also this week on AEW, the return to professional wrestling of Jake the Snake Roberts.
I was looking for an opportunity to bring it up. He's got Lance Archer in tow.
Yes, he does. So pieces are starting to come together. Jake Roberts has Lance Archer. So after last Wednesday, we had 2 questions. Who's Jake's guy? Who's the Exalted One? Lance Archer was in the running for both. So he's eliminated from being the Exalted One, which leads me to believe one of 3. Brody Lee, the artist formerly known as Luke Harper, Matt Hardy, and I'm sorry, I'm still saying it, Dustin Rhodes. I'm not letting go of that one.
I saw earlier this week there was some kind of a tweet that was sent out where the first letter spelled out Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah, that makes me believe it's a little too obvious.
That's the typical Alfred Hitchcock McGovern. I mean, it's just like, hey, here it is. I don't. Oh, there's been a lot of things in the history of pro wrestling that's been telegraphed that you saw coming. Like, the whole save us thing when Jericho came back the second time. Yeah, that was freaking Jericho. We all knew it. The whole 11/11 whatever 11/24 thing from when the Undertaker came back. Yeah, we knew that was going to be Taker. I think they just threw that out there to just kind of throw everybody off scent, which leads me to believe my dark horse is still a little bit stronger. I still think it could be Dustin, and if it's Dustin, I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm going to be insufferable because nobody else is talking about it. No other show, website, nothing is throwing out the idea of Dustin Rhodes as the Exalted One. It's Matt Hardy, it's Brody Lee, it's Luther, who just officially signed with AEW, and a couple of other people. But nobody's talking about Dustin. Not the smart marks, not What Culture, not WrestleMania, just Wrestling with Egos. And if I'm right, I'm sending this show right here, this episode, to all them sons of guns and going, now that I've said this, that's just consider that the kiss of death.
Right.
Because now it's not going to happen. But just in case, it's called plausible deniability, Brian. If it doesn't happen, I can go, no, that didn't exist. Delete.
Right.
Delete, Brian. Gotta look real quick. Delete, not delete. Just hit the delete button. Moving right along.
Yeah. And then we also had the Elimination Chamber event, which is the last stop on the road to maybe WrestleMania, but we'll get into that later.
WrestleMania live from the WWE Performance Center.
Right. Live on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Live on Up, Up, Down, Down. We're going to do a live stream of WrestleMania where we just have all the matches that way.
And also, it'll be a battle of the brands between Up, Up, Down, Down, and Left, Right, Left, Right.
Right.
And then we're going to chime in as Team BABA start.
There you go. There's two matches from Elimination Chamber that I really want to talk about because you suggested to watch along and I said, okay, fine. Yeah, that'd be fine. And I tuned in and I'm thinking to myself, what are we going to expect from this? Because so many of the big matches, the tent pole matches, if you will, are already set in stone. You're going to get Rhea and Charlotte for the NXT Championship, the Women's Championship. And you're going to get Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre for the Universal Championship. You're going to get Goldberg and Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be, I'm sure there's a few others that are already there. You're probably going to have AJ and The Undertaker.
Right. Keep in mind, but the last time we did the show, no one was not, we had just finished Super Showdown, so The Undertaker and AJ first touched on that, which is, all roads have led us to that now. But one thing we were not talking about because it happened last Friday on SmackDown, we're getting The Fiend and we're getting John Cena.
Which should be very interesting. But the match that I want to start talking about from the Chamber, which made me really, really glad that I did tune in and, as it was happening, was the first match of the evening with Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak, a match that kind of came together over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is getting famous for this. Let's just throw something together and see what we got. And these two guys put on a 5-star quality wrestling match.
Clinic.
homework worthy, I dare say, wrestling match, because it's been a while since I've seen two guys just go into the ring and wrestle without artifice, without, four other henchmen at ringside, without gimmicks and without theatrics and without anything else. They just went in there and they remind you that we are in the business of professional wrestling. And I thought it was really, really refreshing.
Yes, and it was quite good. I told Mrs. Rant Mode on this, and she laughed. You do realize that the two guys in that ring are responsible for training probably about 25% of the rest of the WWE roster, right? Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak trained a lot of people. And it's just like, wow, really?
And it also brings into significant relief how criminally underutilized Gulak has been. He was, resigned to 205 Live for most of the time he's been with WWE.
Yeah.
Except for a few tilts here and there with people.
Right. Gulak is so underrated as a mat worker. The problem is, I think they've tried to just give him a personality. He doesn't really have that much of a personality. Just shut up and wrestle.
Right.
What is so hard about, if I'm booking it, if it's me, Drew Gulak does not have a personality, but we're not going to make him go, if I could be serious for a moment. No, we're not going to make him do that crap either. You know what? This is Drew. My name's Patrick Swafford. That's Drew Gulak. This man did this. This man did this. And now this man is coming to the ring to kick your ass. Drew Gulak ain't got to say a word. Even if he doesn't have a heater next to him, Drew Gulak goes to the ring, stretches somebody for 5.5 minutes, taps them out, collect his paycheck, go home. He doesn't have to. With his ability, he can just shred people.
Right.
Not only do you get professional wrestling out of that, but you also get sports entertainment out of that, because now Drew Gulak is a silent serial killer.
Which is a breath of fresh air compared to everybody else and what they're doing.
Right. Drew Gulak doesn't have to say a word, but you build it up that the fact that, oh my God, this dude's dangerous. This dude is, holy crap. He is legit. I mean, you don't have to characterize him. You can just, figuratively speaking, paint it black and just go get him. Strip it down to like black boots, black tights almost, and just no frills, just carnage.
And what was great about it, the match was, it wasn't a 5-minute match. They were given time. I think it went 12, 13, maybe 14 minutes. And there were points throughout the match where you thought, okay, Gulak's going to actually do this. He's going to pull it off. No, now Bryan's coming back. No, now Gulak's going to, And I remember, I didn't actually watch the footage, but I guess they interviewed Bryan after the match. He got emotional about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, this is what I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've been wanting to go out there with somebody and just, let it fly. And he was given that opportunity, which was awfully refreshing.
Oh, yeah. And Drew Gulak is probably one of the few people in the world that can go hold for hold with Bryan Danielson. So I loved it. What's the other match you want to talk about? I think I know where you're going to go. I hope I'm right. Because if you do, I get to mention my bad. Yeah.
A lot of the other matches of the night, it was a very predictable event for me.
God.
Like you kind of saw, okay, I know what they're going to do here. I know what they're going to do here. And I know what they're going to do here. And we could launch into this argument about the WWE does too many pay-per-views and whatnot, and maybe they could stand to let things breathe a little bit. And we're not here for that discussion tonight. We can have that discussion later, and I'm sure we could have a great one. But the other match that I want to definitely talk about is the women's chamber match. Because in that match you had Ruby Riott and Sonya. No, I'm sorry, Ruby Riott,
Liv Morgan,
Liv
and
Morgan,
all three of them.
Sarah Logan, formerly the Riott Squad. You had Natalya, you had Shayna Baszler, and you had an injured Asuka. I thought Kyrie might take her place, but the wrist apparently was good enough for her to go. And for the first time in Elimination Chamber history, one performer, one competitor, when they were introduced into the match, eliminated everybody in turn. To the point where you had a lot of Shayna Baszler walking around and posing and taunting while the 5-minute time intervals counted down. And I thought, that's very interesting.
You dumped all three of the Riott Squad members in less than 5 minutes.
Yep. Choked them out. I don't have a problem with putting Shayna in that spot because Shayna's more than ready for this. I think she's going to have a fantastic match with Becky when it actually happens. If Mania goes on as planned, she's going to have a fantastic match. But I know that there was a lot of negative fan reaction to it. I know there were people that left the building before the event was over. I know that there was a lot of uproar online from the Smarks, which we're so fond of here at Wrestling with Egos. I mean, we love the Smarks. Come on, Smarks, come at me.
Jay, real quick. You call them Smarks. You want to know what I call them tonight? Target practice.
Okay. And it makes me wonder, because I don't have a problem with the presentation of it. I went on record, in the pre-show talk that Patrick and I had, because Shayna is an assassin. Shayna, that's how she's been marketed her whole career. When she was in UFC, that's what she did. When she was in NXT, that's what she did. Nobody could really step to her. Nobody really had a chance that much against her. But I got to wondering, was this necessary? For the simple fact that Shayna already had an in to Becky. Because don't forget, we'll turn the calendar back a couple pages to November. Survivor Series, you had champion versus champion versus champion, Bayley versus Becky versus Shayna, and Shayna won that match. The argument could be made by somebody that that's Shayna's in to wanting a title shot now for the Raw Women's Championship against Becky Lynch. And I can see where the negative reaction comes from. It's like, did you need to anoint her in this fashion? And I can tell by the way you're furrowing your brow that you have a retort for this line of thought that I'm bringing up. And I'll go on record as saying I don't have a problem with putting Shayna in this spot because she's more than ready. She's paid her dues. That's not a question of that. And I love Becky's response. Bringing up Ronda Rousey a couple of times, bringing up the interactions that the two of them have had. It's not all just you bit the back of my neck, which was kind of cheaply theatrical,
Yeah.
But we're not leaning on that as the sole driving force behind this match. But I wonder if they could have gone another direction. I wonder if they could have, done other things. But I'm sure you have a response for this. So what say you?
All right. In terms of the smart marks, the target practice, the cannon fodder, I'm going to start it by simply saying this. You guys just do not get it. I will start it with there, and I'll come back to you guys later. As far as her being anointed, yeah, you could have gone that direction, and they're not going that direction. And I'll tell you why. Smart marks, you're back in this conversation. Let's, for example, for just a moment, if we can, and I'll see if I can find a picture of it, and if I can, right now, you're going to see Becky Lynch in that pimp-ass leather jacket of hers. And on her right arm, Brian, you will see the side plates of every former champion Becky Lynch has beaten in the last calendar year. Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, Asuka, Ronda Rousey, all of them on that right arm. Becky has been a destroyer for the last year. And just like it, we've made references on this show to monster movies, to trilogies, to anything like that. The word of the day, now the phrase of the day was wash your stinking hands. The word of the day, escalation. So Godzilla has gone through Tokyo, Moscow, Berlin, Paris, London. Now it's heading to New York City. Nothing's been able to stop it. What do? You gotta get bigger, nastier, and badder. So in the professional wrestling world, or even in the movie world, you have to find, it's like in the Matrix, the stronger that Neo got, Smith got. So they always balanced. Who in their right freaking mind thinks anybody else on the current women's roster, not counting anyone that has been recently called up from NXT, who in their right minds thinks anybody is a formidable challenger for a woman who has absolutely vaporized the entire women's division in the course of the last 12 months? I'll make it easy for you. They ain't a damn soul on the in the women's division that can be that challenger to Becky Lynch now. Becky Lynch last year, this time, was just becoming the man. Becky Lynch has been the man for a while now, boys and girls. So what you have to do, if the good guy, if John Wayne is freaking RoboCop at this point, you got to create something that is scarier than John Wayne as RoboCop. And that's exactly what they're doing with Shayna Baszler. Smart marks. You don't get it. You don't see the bigger picture, because I'm just throwing out names here. You can take Kairi Sane, you can take Carmella, you can take Dana Brooke, you can take Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, both of the Iconics. It does not matter. No one's going to give two flying damns about that match because it's not believable. Shayna Baszler running through all five of them chicks in less than 10 minutes. Just a freaking feeding frenzy makes Shayna Baszler a credible, legitimate terror. Not just a badass, a terror. Like, oh my God, she just cleared out the chamber in, well, I can't go to the bathroom that fast. You know, whatever analogy you want to throw out. And now Shayna has that instant street cred for clearing all those girls out in that quick of amount of time just by doing that butterfly cutter, the knee to the face, going behind them and choking them out. Bada boom, bada bing. And now Becky has a legitimate threat in Shayna Baszler. Why? Because of one match and one full-blown destruction. And why people are bitching about it, I'll never know. Because you can't have a great hero unless you have a great villain. Hulk Hogan was not just great because Hulk Hogan was say your prayers, eat your vitamins, all that good stuff. Hogan had the entire flipping Heenan family. He had Macho. He had Slaughter. He had Flair. This is all before he went NWO for life. You know, you're only as good as your arch enemy. If Lex Luger was a complete puss, Superman wouldn't have been awesome.
Yeah.
If Thanos was a complete joke, guess what? The Avengers don't have anything to worry about. Nobody gets snapped out of existence. You do not, for every good, there has to be an equal evil in any form of entertainment. And for Becky Lynch, this is her antithesis.
Yep.
She needs this because otherwise there's no credibility.
And what it's also doing is raising Becky's game too, because now Becky is motivated again. You know, you could have made the argument that, you know, December, January, Becky was kind of coasting a little bit.
Huh?
You know, back in the, you know, back over the summer when, you know, you had the romance between her and Seth, you know, she was kind of coasting a little bit, being booked, you know, terribly there. But her focus is back. She's got something to focus on now, and it's raising her promo game again, and it's raising her ring game again.
Yep. I want to point out something, and this is let's file this one away. Let's file this one away. She invoked the name of Ronda Rousey twice, and I don't think she did it by accident. I'm just going to leave that there for right now. I don't think she did it by accident.
It either means she knows what's coming, or
Hashtag setup.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, not hashtag setup. Foreshadowing alert.
My goodness. So it's I said I wasn't going to bring this up, but I feel the need to. I feel the need to bring it up because I'll get a little tiny bit topical. I know we said we weren't. I feel like the last domino to fall here, and I hate to say this because I feel like if I say it, I'm going to speak it into existence. I feel like WrestleMania is going to, at the very least, get postponed.
I don't. I think it's inevitable. Let's be honest. I think it's inevitable.
Because with everything that we've seen already get outright canceled, postponed, whatever, I don't see how, you know, you can just fly in the face of all the other prudence, if you will, and bring all those people into Tampa. You know, so if/when it finally happens, you know, it's going to be a great match, but
it'll happen.
That pallor is kind of hanging all over everything right now.
The matches are going to happen. It just may not be as we think it's going to happen. Who knows? We'll figure it out. This is, you know, let's be honest, boys and girls, if we're going to get topical in any kind of major big event that we're all looking forward to in the next 90 days, let's take it day by day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take it day by day, you know, literally and figuratively, see which way the wind's blowing, you know. But to quote, before we get into our homework, catching up on some homework, which Teach, you might be mad at me, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to quote a great philosopher by the name of Marshawn Lynch, who recently, in his the last NFL game, which also might be his very last NFL game, he was asked about giving advice to younger players, and it was, you know, take care of y'all mental, handle y'all business, take care of y'all chicken, take care of y'all bread, take care of yourselves.
Yes.
Take care, you know. So topically, take care of you, take care of yours. Wash your hands. I keep saying that, but wash your hands. Cleanliness. You know, don't just sneeze out in the open, you know. Scott, there, Big Papa Pump is your hookup. Holla if you hear him. Hey, I like that. But let's just don't use an overabundance of caution, but let's not be stupid. Let's not be stupid, boys and girls. Yeah. And can someone please find a way to make toilet paper that ain't coming out of China? Because that's why we're having this paper towel toilet paper issue, because all that crap's made over there and ugly.
So let's handle the homework. I understand that some members of the class may not have had a chance to watch said homework, but that's fine because there's a lot going on in our lives right now.
Hey.
Yeah?
Professor Brian, my dog ate my homework.
That's great.
Dang it, I was hoping you were going to say it. You don't have a dog.
Oh, well, yeah, this is true. You don't have a dog, sir. For the uninitiated, the homework from a couple of weeks ago was an offshoot of our Ruthless Aggression episode, and it involves one of my favorite matches from that time period, No Way Out 2006. Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker. Kurt Angle went into this match as the champion, and as I alluded to in that episode, which, by the way, is available on bit.ly/withegos and on YouTube if you haven't seen it yet. And if you haven't seen it yet, why haven't you seen it yet? Maybe we should talk about that after the show.
My dog ate my homework.
Oh, you don't have a dog. We've already been over this. But anyway, Kurt Angle went in this match as the champion, and as I alluded to on that episode, this was the beginning of kind of angry Kurt Angle. It was the precursor to the ECW relaunch, and he had the tooth guard, the mouth guard in his mouth and stuff like that, and he had the singlets, and all that stuff. And this was a really different match than I had seen before, because I remember from watching this back several times, it's the first match I can recall that a big portion of it is submissions. And The Undertaker and Kurt Angle were trading submissions back and forth with each other. And they had a lot of novel ways of getting into and out of each other's submissions and countering into their own submissions. And as I recall, the match ends with Taker's got the Hell's Gate on Kurt Angle, the triangle, but his shoulders get counted down at the same time, right before Kurt Angle taps. And that's how the match ends.
It's the Undertaker Brock Lesnar match from SummerSlam.
Yes, but this was the first time I had seen a finish like that. But as I said, it's also the first time I had seen submissions be the brunt of just a straight up wrestling match, not a ultimate submission match or a, Iron Man or anything like that. This was just a wrestling match with no other stipulation except that it was for the WWE Championship. And it reminds you of the stamina of both guys. Because if you are going to be submission wrestling for that length of time, this match went 20 minutes, by the way. If you're going to be submission wrestling for that length of time, you have to have incredible stamina. You have to have a tremendous energy reserve stockpile, because I've never professionally or amateurly wrestled, but one thing I do know is submissions hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And submissions sap your energy, and they force you to make a choice. Am I going to give up or am I going to keep fighting? And it's easier sometimes to just say, okay, I'm done, But this was an exhausting match to watch as well. When it ended, you were like, how were they able to do that? And then for Taker to walk over, basically, and rip Kurt Angle up off the mat and shove him into the corner and say, I'm not finished with you. I've got your number. I'm not finished with you yet. And the look of horror on Kurt Angle's face when Taker says that, And the one thing I regret that I haven't done is I haven't seen how it unfolded going forward, because I know that No Way Out was the event before WrestleMania that year. I don't remember what either one of them did at WrestleMania, because I know they didn't have a rematch.
What Mania was this going into? Do you remember?
This was 2006, which I think is 23?
23 Taker defends the title against Batista.
So maybe they do a switcheroo with, what show they wind up being on, because I don't remember.
If I'm not mistaken, 23 is the one in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who Angle faced at 23. Because 22, it was Angle and Shawn
Yeah.
in that.
But I think I have it in my head that it didn't go anywhere much after that. Like they may have had a rematch
on his way out and going to TNA.
That's right.
Angle was on his way out.
Okay.
That's why Taker had the title going into Mania 23 because it was him and Batista. Because the two title matches, because it was World Heavyweight and it was, I think it was World Heavyweight. And yeah. And it was Taker and Batista and Cena and Trips.
You might be right.
Because he was supposed to be Cena and Shawn. And then, no, it was Cena and Shawn because it was supposed to be Cena and Trips Part 2 from, because they had the match at 22 in Chicago.
Yeah. And
they were supposed to go back for 23, but with Taker with Trips being out with the quad injury again, Shawn stepped in.
So that's the one disappointment for me, is that we didn't get to see, there was a lot of escalation in this match, don't get me wrong. Plenty of emotion to go around, plenty of vitriol to go around. But you might be right. If Angle's on his way out of the company,
he is.
For whatever reason. I think it was health issues and stuff like that, and some personal issues.
He was leaving for a multitude of reasons. It was health reasons. It was personal reasons. It was also because he physically could not pass the wellness policy as they were starting to implement it, because they really got stringent with the wellness policy after Eddie Guerrero died.
Yes.
And keep in mind, Eddie Guerrero died right before WrestleMania 22, so you're now a year removed from Eddie's death.
Right.
So Angle's contract was running out. He had to be on so many pills because of all the pain that he was in and everything else that he couldn't pass wellness policy. So he was leaving to handle personal issues. And I think, something else, because I know him and Karen were still married at the time and she might've been expecting baby number 2. And he was also being courted by TNA because TNA didn't have a wellness policy, and he would have had a much, much, much lighter work schedule.
Right.
Which is why Kurt Angle was able to go another 10 years.
Oh, it all adds up then.
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about that, what do you have for the class this week, good sir?
Well, Brian, I'm going to give you a choice. I have 2 matches down, and I think both matches are really good. But they're both matches that will broaden your horizons because they're matches from points of the wrestling world that you are inexperienced. So I'm simply going to ask you, do you want an NWA/WCW match from the late 80s, early 90s, or do you want ECW from 1999? I promise you the ECW match is not blood and guts. Both of these matches are straight up, for both of these matches have a little bit of hardcore element to them, but they're both straight up matches, and they're both for the World Championship.
I think it's been a while since we've done some WCW, NWA.
Okay.
Let's go that route.
All right. Well, first off, I wanted to tell you what was behind door number 2. That way, class, if you wanted to watch this one as extra credit, you can. That would have been from Guilty as Charged 1999, when the ECW World Heavyweight Champion, the franchise, Shane Douglas, was defending the championship against the human suplex machine, Taz.
Juicy.
Spoiler, Taz wins. Shane leaves, and he's on his way to WCW. So for the official homework, I take you back to, and I think this was 91. I want to say this was 1991. May have been 88, 89, 90, 91. One of those three. I'm not sure the year. Bite me. Clash of Champions number 9. For the World Heavyweight Championship. And I believe the subtitle of this Clash of Champions was called New York Knockout. I'm pretty sure. For the World Heavyweight Championship, it is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, defending the championship against another living legend, Terry Funk.
Ooh.
Wait. I quit. I love this match because it's got hardcore elements. It's got a lot of action. It's got a lot of wrestling, a lot of drama in there. And there's just this gritty, dirty factor about this match. It's not flashy. It's just dirty.
I know of this match because I own both Ric Flair documentaries that WWE has put out. And they make mention of it. I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through, though.
Yeah, because the setup to this is also really good because Flair had just beaten Steamboat in that the greatest wrestling trilogy of them all for the World Heavyweight title. And Funk was a judge for that last match. And he was like, yeah, Flair, Rick, I think you're great. And I wouldn't mind a title match down the line. Well, Terry, I appreciate that. You're a former NWA champion, and, I do respect you, but you've been in Hollywood for quite a while. And, the executive committee has to, approve someone from the top 10 for me to face. Terry wasn't having it. Terry leveled him and then tried to pile drive his ass through a table, but the legs broke and the table kind of did that number. Flair went on to say, about damn near broke my neck.
Yeah.
And then they had a back and forth through some Clash of Champions and a pay-per-view, I think. And then they settled it at New York Knockout. And it's just a good match. Jim Ross is on the call, and Jim Ross is about to lose his flipping mind on this one. We're not talking like good God Almighty, that killed him. But, before Jim Ross had to resort to all of that, like I said, there is a gritty factor to this match that I just like. It's like, to me, it's like really, really, really good grunge rock. It's like Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam at its absolute best. You know what? Beautiful song that's grungy. You know what it is? It's Jeremy. Jeremy by Pearl Jam.
Love it. You just said good God Almighty, and that reminded me of something else I found this week on the network. There's an Untold about the Hell in a Cell match between Taker and Mankind.
Oh, yeah. That's been there for a while.
I know, but I hadn't seen it.
Oh, it's good.
And I queued it up earlier this week, and I just had goosebumps the whole time.
Because you remember when you and I years ago went and saw Mick Foley at a stand-up show, he was telling the story about it and how Terry Funk approached The Undertaker and was like, Undertaker says, is he breathing? I don't know. That whole thing. to hear it from Mick Foley, it's kind of funny. And then you hear the exact same crap from The Undertaker, and you're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Because Mick Foley tells it kind of tongue in cheek because, hey, I'm still standing. It's okay. Undertaker's like real talking it like, Terry came up to me and he was like, and first thing I thought was, is he breathing? I don't know. You might need to check. He's still breathing. Okay. And then I just grabbed Terry by the throat, jokes like, just to buy some time. And I'm just like, oh.
That's one of those matches, and that might be a bar talk for down the road too. Matches.
I covered my mouth when I coughed.
Yeah, good on you. That might be a bar talk for down the road too. Matches that we will never get tired of watching, because that's one of them. I even
Brian.
Yes.
Can we do that next week?
Yes, we can.
Because let's be honest, we're going to be on the road to WrestleMania. We might have some, maybe on the road to WrestleMania. Yeah. We might have some breaking news that might not be happening next week, and we may just need to fill time. So you know what? Let's plan on doing that. Matches next week that we will never, ever, ever get tired of seeing. I've already thought of 4. And yes, the first one is the Hell in the Cell match with Undertaker and Mick Foley.
I mean, it's just, even though I know spot for spot how it goes, I don't care. It's just...
Dude, watching that match, the commentary for me is like me watching the movie Seven. I can quote that son of a bitch word for word. I mean, it's just like...
me in Ocean's 11.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty good with Ocean's 11, too. I mean, I think my 2 most quotable movies I can get through the most. 7, I can get all the way. Tombstone, probably about 90%. And, yeah, Tombstone is a movie that Brian and I have had many of a discussion about. Well, Huckleberry.
You're a thief and a liar. No, I only lied about being a thief. Yeah, well, I'm with a man now who doesn't have to make that distinction.
Well, does he make you happy?
He doesn't make me cry.
Yeah. Or does he make you laugh? Or I can't remember.
No, does he make you happy? You were right the first time.
Very cool. Yeah, well, window or owl, boys, we're in deep shit. Yeah. Unless we plan on doing this job in Reno, we're in Bonnie Rubble. Trouble! Anyway, wow. This is the train, and this is the train derailed. Let's go ahead and get out of here, my man. Looking forward to next week's discussion of matches that we will not ever get tired of. So you guys enjoy your wrestling week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Much love to you guys. Much love to our boy Ace 500 for the closing music, Soul Train. By the way, check out the music video. Links up. The link is in the description for this week's show. Or actually, no. Better yet, the link is actually popping up right now. There you go. YouTube link. Check that bad boy out. Good video, good song. Got a nice little bounce to it. Ace comes up with some gems that have just that fun bounce to it. I mean, it's all good. Get down. I'm loving Soul Train right now. This is a great track.
Bringing that funk.
And also the video with Ace and that afro. Gotta love it. Beautiful stuff. So for Brian, myself, our friends and family, everybody associated with this crazy show, we will see you guys next week on Wrestling with Egos. And until then, always remember, Hemingway once said, the world is a fine place and worth fighting for. I agree with the second part. See, from 7. We'll see you guys next week.